I can imagine that peer-to-peer partnerships will be one of the most important topics for many of you listening in today because it's about the people. What can we do to foster partnerships as we are maybe not working for certain organizations or might not even be entrepreneurs or similar? So I'm very happy to announce this panel that will be moderated by Christian Minungu, Head of Unit at the African Union Commission. Welcome.
Thank you, moderator Cisse.
Thank you.
Dear panelists, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this panel discussion. As we all know, Africa is the youthful continent. However, the future of millions of young girls and boys rely on the capability of the continent to provide them with the required infrastructure and skills, opportunity to innovate and secure sustainable jobs. Digital transformation has a huge potential for job creation. It can generate a high demand for qualified local workforce, not only in the ICT industry, but also across all other sectors. The African Union therefore assigned a key role to digital transformation to harness digital technology, data, and innovation to generate inclusive economic growth and stimulate job creation. Unfortunately, the continent lacks digital infrastructure, digital skills, and human capacity to fuel digital innovation and entrepreneurship, without which a digital transformation would not be stable and self-sustaining. This panel on Made in Africa, SMEs Digital Capacity Building, Innovation and Entrepreneurship Initiative, organized by the African E-Trade Group, gives the opportunity to showcase an innovative, large-scale, private-led, sector-led Pan-African digital innovation and entrepreneurship initiatives aligned with the EU Digital Transformation Strategy 2020-2030. To this end, we were expecting Ambassador Albert Muchanga, Commissioner for Economic Affairs, Trade, Tourism, Industry and Mining, to deliver a keynote, but I think Commissioner is not online. So without further ado, I would like to invite my sister Treasure, representing Mr. Mulalem Sium, founder and CEO of E-Trade Group, to deliver a speech and give us, elaborate on the objective and expectation of this panel. Without further ado, over to you, Treasure.
Thank you very much, my brother, distinguished moderator, Your Excellencies, esteemed panelists, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Mr. Mulwalem Seom, I wish to extend his sincere apologies. He had an emergency, otherwise he was planning to be with us all this afternoon. So I will present his brief remarks as the panel is about to resume its deliberations. I wish to thank the D4D Hub and its partners for welcoming the AE Trade Group to participate and co-organize a side event at this important multi-stakeholder forum with SAIS. In our assessment, it is an ideal platform that brings together a diverse range of stakeholders with an interest in how we can harness digital technologies to improve people's lives everywhere, leaving no one behind. This resonates with our core mission and vision as the A-Trade Group because we are indeed inspired by Agenda 2030 and Agenda 2063, especially the core elements that are dealing with the eradication of poverty, as well as building a just and equitable society. We believe that access to technology, innovation, entrepreneurship are all cornerstones in Africa towards be following the basic building blocks of education, healthcare, and security. As a social enterprise that is diaspora-led, working across the continent, we see that the changing landscape on the continent, the drive to harmonize legislation, to move forward, to implement ambitious policies and treaties such as the African Continental Free Trade Area, the Single Open Skies Initiative, the AU Digital Transformation Initiative as a strategy, and many others, is indeed a great backdrop for this session today, because we are here seeking and ready to collaborate with partners both within the continent and beyond the continent. And for us, the topic that the panel will deal with resonates very much with the urgency of the issues. I'm pleased to inform you that as the AU Trade Group, we have been engaging with European stakeholders for some time, yet the past few months have seen an acceleration in this engagement based on the enormous opportunities that our policymakers have availed to us, appreciating the importance of investing time and resources in this area. We also believe that the private sector in Europe and Africa are ready to harness the opportunities. I give the example of the Europe-Africa Business Forum, wherein we participated in various platforms, including the Digital Innovation Working Groups. And in that context, we saw how receptive stakeholders were to innovative projects that are scalable, that also seek to have huge impact on job creation and indeed the lives of many. I'm happy that I will have my colleague, Dr. Rima Dakhir, in the panel to talk further about some of the specific initiatives. What we can say is that for us, what is key is implementation. It is about results, and it is about a sense of urgency in moving all these wonderful ideas forward. Let me, as I close my brief remarks, acknowledge and appreciate the partnerships that we already enjoy. Some of them are actually part of today's panel. In November last year, we were privileged to work in partnership with the African Union to put together an AU Youth Pavilion, which attracted hundreds of youth startups from across the continent. The AU Trade Group itself was responsible for identifying 150 youth startups with the African Union, and we sponsored them to come together for 1 week to engage in a very exciting program. I'm happy to tell you that COMESA, Federation of Women in Business, represented today here, was one of the sponsors, as well as the Europe Africa Business and Innovation Center, Big Africa program. And this is really for us a good initiative because it demonstrates the practical steps that we've already started to build these partnerships with stakeholders, both within the continent and also within Europe. Now, the AU Youth Pavilion, I might just add, is in fact a flagship initiative and a brainchild of AU Commissioner His Excellency Ambassador Albert Muchanga. So we thank him for this leadership and look forward to continuing on the journey. As I conclude, I wish to just say that this platform for us is a continuation of the excellent collaboration, which I've briefly alluded to. We see the possibility for further synergies being enhanced, and we see us bridging sometimes the information gap as to what different stakeholders are working on that is of mutual interest. So we want to thank GIZ and the D4D Secretariat, as well as the key partners to this platform, for making it possible for us to be here today. So I wish you all fruitful deliberations, and thank you. I hand back to you, Christian.
Thank you, Treasure. Thank you for highlighting the importance of partnering, notably with Europe, and stressing on the quality of your partnership as a e-trade group with the European Commission. We'll make sure we continue putting in place the required enabling environment to enable all African private sector to pursue and strengthen such partnership. I would like to complement your valuable statement with some highlights on a few facts and data points as an example of technology solutions that have been applied to advance digital inclusion in Africa, notably at the EU level. This includes one, technology has led to increased government engagement with citizens with the deployment of e-government platform. As of today, more than 30 countries on the continent made significant progress in this area. Two, the COVID-19 pandemic has propelled the adoption of digital payment platform for millions of people across the continent. In a recent report by GSMA, mobile money accounts grew to 1.2 million with 43% of new users, all from Africa. Three, digital technology have stimulated the growth of youth and women-led SMEs, providing a majority of the formal and informal jobs. In line with the above, and in order to foster digital inclusion on the continent, the EU developed the following continental policies and initiatives. One, launching of the second priority action plan of the Program for Infrastructure Development in Africa, PIDAPAP2, based on the integrated corridor approach, aiming at developing digital infrastructure in Africa and increasing broadband access across the continent. Its focus on developing partnership strategy and implementation strategy and a financing strategy. Two, we have the adoption of the digital transformation strategy for Africa 2020-2030 and its sectoral strategy and implementation plans for education, health, e-commerce, digital financial services, and agriculture in an effort to harness digital technology and innovation to transform African society and economies. Three, the launching of the policy and regulation initiative for Digital Africa, PRIDA, with the support of the European Commission, with overall objective of fostering universally accessible, affordable, and effective broadband access across the continent to unlock possible future benefits of internet-based services. Four, the launching of the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, presenting a major opportunity for African countries to bring 30 million people out of extreme poverty and to raise the income of 68 million over who live on less than $5.5 per day. The digital trade will be a major component in closing the digital divide in Africa. I would like also to highlight the adoption of two major frameworks, namely the EU interoperability framework for digital ID, aimed at enabling all African citizens to easily and securely access the public and private services they need, when they need them, and independently of their location, as well as the EU data policy framework to contribute creating an enabling policy environment for the private and public investment necessary to support data-driven value creation. Despite the above, I'm quite sure there are still questions which continue running through our minds, as well the minds of the dozen of African and European citizens who accepted to respond to the survey. To help us to get the appropriate response, I wish to welcome our esteemed distinguished panelist, Dr. Rima Dagri, Head of Research and Innovation within African E-Trade Group, Dr. Jirki Pulkinen, Ambassador for Innovation at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Finland, Mr. Tana Medvin, who is a partner in Impact Amplifier and Health Capital, Mr. Robert Sanders, Team Leader for BIC Africa, a DG International Partnership Initiative supporting business incubation across Eastern and Southern Africa with a specific focus on youth and women. And last but not least, Miss Ruth Negash, Chief Executive Officer of the COMESA Federation of National Association of Women and in Business. We focus on delivering results to change the lives of grassroots women and youth SMEs working in smart collaboration with public and large private sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My question is to all of you. My first question to all of you is this: how can the EU-Africa partnership accelerate Africa's share of the digital economy? Yeah, and I will start with Mr. Tana, if you don't mind. Tana?
I don't mind at all. Thank you.
Thank you,
Christian. Yeah, I appreciate it. No problem. Well, thank you. So I think, for me, both policy and infrastructure are critical contributions to create an enabling environment. However, it's actually entrepreneurs that I think are going to actually make the biggest change on the continent as it relates to digital inclusion and kind of getting a bigger share of the digital economy. So entrepreneurs are the kind of small businesses that are emerging on the continent are fundamentally constrained by a few different things. And the kind of alleviating some of those constraints will be absolutely critical for their growth and development. So one of those is access to markets. So many digital entrepreneurs really struggle to find kind of their place in the broader ecosystem for a range of different reasons. Secondly, they really struggle with kind of business development support and technical support, the accessibility of those things. And thirdly, they struggle with finance, and finance particularly that is suitable to their maturity as a business. So there is oftentimes finance available, but it's inappropriate for the stage of their development. So combining those three things creates kind of, for me, the enabling ecosystem that's actually required to allow digital entrepreneurs to thrive. And digital entrepreneurs are now kind of sitting at the forefront of addressing social issues, healthcare, housing, food security, water access, energy access on the continent. So if we are going to kind of attack some of the kind of core issues of poverty, as well as enable the digital economy, these kind of three core things for me are what is absolutely vital. So I'm going to leave it there for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you for highlighting the importance of access to markets, the importance as well of financial and technical support. Let's hear from a government perspective, and for that I would like to invite Mr. Pulkinen to take the floor.
Thank you, Christian. I look it from government's point of view. That's why I speak more about the partnerships rather than the technical aspects of the partnership. Although, of course, we are in D4D Hub multi-stakeholder forum, but let me say why. I think for many stakeholders, the partnership, we have to see it as a platform for learning from each others. And I think the digital economy and digital society is something that really benefit from partnership approach, because the digital economy doesn't recognize any borders. So we have to create joint partnerships and see them as a learning platform. Learning together leads to co-creation. And co-creation leads us to innovation. And of course, innovation leads to business and so on. And at the end of the day, growth of digital economy in both of the continents. So we both are benefiting from it. At the government level, we can share and learn from each other's challenges related to digital economy policies and regulations. And there are components on that in our partnerships. Digital economy does not recognize borders, as said, and that's why we have to tackle the problems together. That not only applies to Europe and Africa, but also the rest of the world. At the institutional level, we can boost joint research and development and innovation. And we have to remember there are many programs in Europe that Africa can participate also, not only this the D4D, but also research programs. And we have to look at that more holistically as well. And that, of course, leads also new innovative approaches that we can follow in our programs. At the business level, we will see new services and innovative services and businesses flourishing in both continents, Africa and Europe. And finally, but not least, we will see better understanding of citizens and people level. And we see trust and friendships also coming up. And I think that is not a small thing in this world that we are living at the moment. And let's include this also in the concept of partnerships in D4D. Thank you very much. I'll leave it here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for letting us know that we should consider partnership as a platform, learning platform. We do appreciate. With that, I would like to invite now our colleague Robert Sanders from the Directorate General of International Partnership, which is one of the organizers of this important event. Dear Robert, what is your thinking about EU-Africa partnership?
Thank you very much, Christian, and thanks again for inviting us to join the panel. In fact, I represent EBN, which is the European Business and Innovation Centre Network, but indeed we are running BIC Africa, which is a EC-funded program to support business incubation at the moment across 4 African countries. I certainly think that the question is an interesting one, and I was indeed reflecting and perhaps building a little bit on what Tana was saying to begin with. I feel today that in some respects the framework for partnership, if I can put it that way, has been created. We heard a lot during the sessions about indeed policy, regulation, and indeed, of course, technology and digital infrastructure and finance. I thought that those are sort of the main pillars for having a framework for partnership. And all this, and it's been enforced today in a real spirit of commitment, I think, from both sides, from the African and European Union respectively. And I think that's interesting. And we've heard a lot about some of the, obviously, funding opportunities going forward. And also on the other side today, listening to some other speakers during the sessions, I think we've heard also about some of the current needs and challenges that have been expressed from entrepreneurs and also some intermediaries about the challenges on the ground. So I think we're all aware of what we need to do. And of course, as was said at the opening of this particular session, this is really, I think, about the people. It's about the human capital and how, as individuals and as organizations, we can hope to make a difference. So our perspective, a little bit like Tana, is really focusing on the entrepreneurs. We're from the angle of the business support organizations. So I think today I sort of represent the peers working in that sort of sector overall. And indeed, I think it's very important that this session is entitled peer-to-peer partnership. So again, it is working in teams as partners. And that, I think, is a way forward that we need to consider very, very carefully. And in terms of, so what we have been doing already with our partners in Africa is to build together some strong networks involving both European and African business incubators and tech hubs. And as you'd expect, a lot of that work has been focused on capacity enhancing, both of intermediaries and also entrepreneurs, knowledge transfer, staff exchange, for example. And all of these initiatives are really geared to facilitate and accelerate the access to the digital economy for young African entrepreneurs in particular, and of course, as was said at the outset by Trezor, a real focus on youth and women in particular. So this is something that we're doing in our field, and that's how we're building the partnerships. But I think what's more important is to go beyond that, and what we're trying to do through Big Africa and other projects is to offer real connectivity for entrepreneurs, but also intermediaries, so that we can help them collectively to identify opportunities in Europe and potentially beyond for access to markets, access to finance, access to partners. And again, as Trezor said at the outset, this is very much a two-way street. And there is also, from the European side, a tremendous interest to look at developing partnerships in Africa, which I think has, developed recently. We have certainly noticed from our network and EBN, we have about 200 members, and they reach out to about 25,000 startups, scale-ups in Europe. And certainly, I think timing is important, and we need to sort of grab this initiative and hopefully together develop some of the great projects and initiatives. And another layer, perhaps just to add at the end of my first comments, it is also having great exchanges between the networks as well. We are discovering some great new partnerships with other networks. As you saw, AfriLabs were involved in the previous session as one example. And we haven't worked a lot previously with other networks. And this is therefore for us, we see as a great opportunity. And together we can hopefully make these vital connections between businesses to enable the partnership to go forward and to really boost the digital economy. Because at the end of the day, it is all about creating added value, better economic conditions, and of course, jobs. So that will be my first contribution, Christian. Thank you.
Thank you. I can understand that you are suggesting creation, among others, the creation of network, strengthening of exchange, taking into account the fact business in Africa, I think in one of the panel, this was raised mainly by women. What could be, and taking into account your experience in exchanging with those, the startup and entrepreneurs you were referring to, what could be your key advice to the young women entrepreneurs?
Well, I think that's a very interesting question. I think it obviously depends on, in most cases, individual needs of entrepreneurs. But we have found in particular that in some cases, it is quite challenging for women entrepreneurs to start businesses. Often there is a difficulty in terms of starting a company, possibly with the amount of time that they have. Different schedules are needed, obviously, to look after family concerns as well. In some cases, it's difficult to break into sectors, particular sectors for women as well. I think sometimes they feel they're not so welcome. It can be sometimes seen as being rather male dominated. So I think it's a question of really assessing individual needs, and we certainly found that bringing together groups of women founders has been a useful exercise that gives them a forum to exchange on a very sort of frank basis and share similar experiences. But I think that a lot of initiatives are now focusing on this aspect of supporting women's entrepreneurship, and it's something that we obviously welcome very much.
Thank you. I would like now to talk to my colleague, Dr. Rima, from the African E-Trade group. And my concern is to know, your group has been partnering with the European Commission, notably. From your experience, how this partnership between Europe and Africa can contribute to accelerate Africa's share on the digital economy. Over to you, Dr. Rim. I cannot hear. And
Thank you, Christian. Thank you. I am happy to join the meeting and to join this panel. So, in my opinion, today, African entrepreneur, especially young and women entrepreneurs, are confronted with different key challenges, such as the strong competition, the access to funding, access to advanced technology, and the competent technical support and business development. So the initiative of partnership between African Union and European Union will mostly address and focus in this issue through working in innovative technology and financial tools, for example, to encourage the development of SMEs and to accelerate Africa's share of the digital economy. This objective is really aligned with the E-Trade Group initiative. Our innovative e-commerce platform and approach will help African SMEs to thrive. The technological tools and approach planned to be deployed are specially designed to respond to the low level of development of Africa's technology infrastructure. And in addition to that, the integrated approach of the COCO platform, which was launched by the African Union on July 7, 2020, addressed the chronic issue of lack of now how to do business, lack of access to the affordable finance, and the need to continuously adapt policies and build more robust infrastructure in order to create job on a large scale across the entire continent. The idea is to leave no one behind. We have also launched a smart finance and digital banking initiative on margin of the African Union Summit of the 5 February 2022. And once we implement the proposed solution starting in next July this year, we aim to make a significant contribution to address the financial inclusion challenge, working with our partners and collaborators on the ground. And here I wish to recognize my sister Ruth for her brilliant effort in mobilizing women entrepreneur, African women entrepreneur. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your response straight away, stressing the importance of innovation technologies and financial tools. You also highlight the key role that the e-commerce platform developed and established by your group can offer to the African young entrepreneurs. We do appreciate, and I also noted the need to develop the know-how to do business. This is very important because most of time, to give only the example of project preparation, this is one of the challenges we are facing in Africa. So I wanted to hear Ruth from COMESA as representing a regional economic community, which is, as we know, the building block for the EU. But as I was told, she is facing technical issues. I don't know if this has been fixed, and if we can hear from our colleague Ruth.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay, good.
Okay,
So you
fantastic.
have the floor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this important platform. I also thank you for all your contributions as you took all my points. It means that you are on board already, you are partners, and I'm quite excited to embark this front forward. So I was thinking yesterday, the title, Peer-to-Peer Partnerships with the European Union. Already on the ground, we are working on a innovation projects with the European Union called the BOA, which is Business Incubation for African Women Entrepreneurs. We had a pilot project done in the last 2 years, 2018. We delivered equipment. We did 4 countries, Sudan, Burundi, Kenya, and Eswatini. And as we did this innovative technology for value addition, because I'm not going to repeat what you already said. You're right, access to information, access to finance, all these are there. But what we're focusing on COMESA is the actual implementation. So the women, mostly in COMESA, as you know, are producers. As they produce, they face a lot of post-harvest waste on their products. So they're looking into adding value. And especially after the COVID, we realized women have become very, very creative and resilient. And they've created a whole new value chain in which they started using these mobile phones to be able to do banking because banks were closed. So they came up, all of them started using their phones, load up with the money, and then they started exchanging. Secondly, they started using different apps to take photos of their products and put a number, and then they start advertising that way. So these are very basic women who are illiterate. So I'm happy to tell you that COVID brought a whole new innovation where illiteracy now is not important anymore. They don't need to read, they don't need to write. What they've been doing is take a picture of the image of the product, they speak the language of the cost, and they send. And people are able to hear and see and buy. And that way we're ordering products, then they deliver using bicycles, using any means to deliver to front of your house. So if you want fresh chicken, they will deliver. If you want fresh meat, they will deliver. If you want fresh garden products, they will deliver in your house. So life became much easier. And after COVID went away, the big stores opened up. We didn't go back. We're still continuing that value chain. So what did this bring? This bring, number one, women have become convenience. The digital transformation has brought convenience for them. Now they've realized, hey, I can grow food in my garden. I can sell it using my son to deliver to the local people who order from them. And then they start exchanging. What do you have? I have tomatoes, potatoes. How about you? I have this, I have that. Oh, can you grow something different? Yes, then now they opened up a whole diversified products that they're able to do in the local markets. Now, some of them went to and even linked with the ministries of agriculture. And I'm speaking of a variety of countries. I have 21 countries. So the stories I'm hearing from all of them, the reports that come to me is quite amazing. So in a natural sense, we have about 200 million women in our COMESA countries. Of those, 20 million are in the database of the COMESA coordinating ministries, and I'm working with those 20 million tapping. Now, what I'm thinking is, so how is this digital transformation helping these women? Number one is the safety and security. Having to sell things on their phones and receive the money through the phone, now people don't steal money from them. Or when they're going to deliver to the bank, they used to lose their monies on the way or on the way coming back. That safety and security has become quite number one important. So they're choosing, they'd rather pay the phone companies a little bit of cost than go deliver and deposit their monies in the bank. So that's one. And two, the role in the family. Being at home, taking care of kids and everybody else, they're doing double roles while they're doing business. It's become now, you don't have to worry about transport costs to go to the market, to sell your products. So even physically, their health has been improving. So they don't want to go back to the old way of doing things. And at the same time, side by side, I realized a lot of men have now started taking their products, selling it off of their cars instead of renting a store. So that's another value chain that has come. Then you run into this creative and resilient things, but then we run into power supply. When there is no power, there is no digital transformation. Power is the root of everything. So if we're going to be peer-to-peer partners, number one thing is how could you help us the root cause, which is the supply of energy. In Africa, especially in our COMESA countries, 300 days of the year, we have the sun. So solar energy has become available, but however, it's cumbersome because it needs to be on its own a new value chain. So then we're creating new jobs for the young people to start maintaining and getting creative with the solar energy. And they're coming up with all kinds of gadgets with this solar energy. And then from European Union, I'm thinking peer-to-peer, what are we looking for? We're looking for to help us, if you could help us to create databases so we could locate where are and what are the needs, so where are the women, where are the youth, what are they doing? The database right now quite doesn't exist. We have 200 million women, but there's very little database that is considered there. So that's the number one thing we can embark together. The second one is to bring simplicity with innovation to make their lives easy. Because there's a lot of European innovations that could really be used easily in our African families. But at the same time, in Africa, we have a lot of innovations that the young people have come up and the women have come up. But it could be improved a little bit more. So that to start with what already exists in Africa will make our partnership easy, because you don't have to bring in what's already working in Europe here with a high cost, which no one can afford, but to already have the products on the ground. How could we improve those products and make it easy? That's a cheaper way and easier way, because they're already familiar with those technologies. Some of them have been around for many years. So what can we just do with this new digital idea to make those be a bit improved, and then it's much easier to do this. Then moving on, we're also building African women. I heard from a previous speaker that the next 50 years, Africa will have the 50% of the workforce of the global workforce. If that's the case, these women are having the babies of the future employees of the world. So helping them and already bringing them up means that we're helping the global economy in the future. So we're investing into our future workforce. So having this, we just need to make sure we focus on their needs, which is added value industries, which they're looking for. Very basic things, nothing big, huge, but something simple that could be done. A good marketing platform, honest customers, business-to-business partners, and then the fast, easy access to manage their monies. Whatever the technology we do, they're looking for fast, easy access to their monies and be able to have the secure and safety. So I will end here for now until we move to the discussions. Back to you, moderator. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruth. I think I also want to thank the technician who managed to have you speaking, because we would have lost a lot of information. I appreciate your contribution, mostly on value change for women during the trying time of COVID-19. And from there, we can see how resilient women are. So, and you also highlight the importance of implementation. Whatever we are discussing here, we have to make sure in the next coming days, we are in a position to implement them. This is a good introduction for me to the next question, which will be how can favorable African-European ecosystem support the development of more digital innovation that create decent jobs in key sectors? And I will start with the government representative. Dr. Ambassador Jirki Ulkineni.
Thank you, Christian. It is indeed a key question. If I look at the European digital ecosystem, it might be the one of the leading in the world. I don't shame to say it. And because it is human-centric, aiming to trusted, equal, inclusive, and affordable access to services for all citizens. And indeed, it has created new decent jobs and businesses in Europe. That's why we have the very sophisticated digital and innovation systems in Europe. However, I have to say, this doesn't come automatically with digitalization. As we have heard today, accessibility is still a challenge in many African countries at the citizens level. And although we are going to invest in connectivity and hardware and innovation in Africa in coming years, we have to remember that the access is not only about hardware, but also the ability of the citizens to use these affordable and new innovative digital services. And only through a meaningful access to these services, the digitalization can have the impact to people's lives, businesses, and create new jobs and transform the society as a whole. So in Europe, the digital ecosystem is based on values of trust, rights of the citizens, and as well as knowledge and innovation. In Europe, we want to put people in the center of the digital development and also give innovation a purpose. That's, sometimes we just feel like, okay, innovation is something that just happened by accident, but we want to also invest those innovations that have a purpose, kind of meaningful and very strategic innovations. We have to realize also that the world have many different pathways to follow in digital economy. We know that there may be something like corporate-centered kind of digital economies where people are seen as customers. Oh yeah, there are customers also, but is that the only way of looking at people? We might have also kind of government-centered digital economies where people are seen as a subject of the government, and so and so. So I think it's quite important for us in each of the society in Africa and Europe make the value choices when we create digital economies and digital services for the citizens, and the whole also the regulations and policies for the society. So it's very much value based. And then I think we can pursue on those affordances of digitalization what we can actually what we are also looking forward. In Europe and Africa, we have to remember that it must be kind of equal partnership. It's partnership is not partnership if it's not equal. And that's my state. And just to give an example of one of the partnership that has been running here in Africa for Southern Africa for a few years, maybe 10 years already, is SAIS partnership, which is co-organizing this session as well. I think this is something that it has been able to create a network of different kind of stakeholders, multi-stakeholders, government, businesses, institutions, to discuss and kind of innovate the innovation system as a whole, not only digitalization, but also the other sectors, as rightly the chairman actually said in the beginning. It's not only the ICT infrastructure, but also the other sectors of the society. And Finland has been offering the platform and some support for the partnership and creating this platform, and now it has delivered something that is very valuable in Southern Africa, and ownership is there. So I think something like this, we can build the new era of partnerships also in digital ecosystems in Africa and Europe. So it's all about kind of partnerships, all about values, and all about also investing our own new innovations together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I will ask the next speakers to limit their intervention in 3 minutes, because we have almost around 10 minutes to conclude this session. I appreciate your intervention. I have 3 takeaways from what you said. The ability of citizens to use affordable services, the need for equal partnership, and also took note of the offer from your government. Thank you so much. Dr. Rima, you have heard from Ambassador Pulkkinen. Do you agree? Are you sharing the same opinion? What is yours?
Yes, certainly, Christian. And to answer also about your question, I want to give you the best example that I have it related to the A-Trade Group Research and Innovation Center, who support the development of digital innovation. Our research center works actually with African, European, and North American public and private partner and collaborator to deliver the innovation system and platform. In our research innovation center, we conduct innovant research, support African SMEs to help them scale up and compete and connect African innovator to leading research and development capability. In the Research and Innovation Center, we focus in different areas such as artificial intelligence and machine learning, cybersecurity, emerging technology, cloud and digital ecosystem, in order to solve also the real and explore the uses of data information in innovative and meaningful way. The Research and Innovation Center focus in other areas such as governance and of science and technology, leadership and sustainable development, environment and natural resource protection, climate change impact, socio-economic issue, and the second example that I can give you is also related to the e-learning module produced by the A-Trade Group in collaboration with Concordia University to help African entrepreneurs become acquainted with a few important management and entrepreneurship best practice, to understand and improve critical leadership skills, and to develop the mindset and business attitude required to success as an entrepreneur. And in final word, there are multiple opportunities for partnership which we are ready to explore beyond this dialogue with industrial leader, academia, incubator, accelerator, government, international partner, the entire ecosystem. We are happy to expand our network and to explore synergy to address the serious challenge of extreme poverty, noting that the young and women who are the most vulnerable groups. As a social enterprise, also A-Trade Group, we encourage government to take the lead, to be the first investor, to bring on board impact investor and development finance institution, amongst other. Collaboration is a key to our common future. Thank you very much, Christian.
Thank you. You took 2 minutes and a half. This is very good. And we are also glad to hear you are willing to expand your network. You are offering the innovation center to be, I think, to be open in few days or weeks in Kigali. This is important for the future of the young entrepreneurs. You also highlight the importance of emerging technologies and data. This should be taken on board. I want, at this point of time, turn to Tana with the same question. What can be done to make African and European ecosystem able to support the development of more digital innovations? Tana, over to you. Online? Tana?
Thank you, Christian. I'll keep it to 2 minutes so you can stay on your schedule. Okay. I want to pick up where the ambassador left off, particularly as it relates to the Southern African Innovation Support Program, SACE, because for me that is a critical example of how do you build in collaboration between Europe and Africa, kind of a digital innovative ecosystem. So this particular project, over an extensive period of time, took the position that actually they wanted to foster collaboration across Southern African borders. to build innovation. So one of the things that happens, particularly with social enterprises, is that they work in silos and they work on smaller scales. It's very difficult to leapfrog ideas from one country into another. So this program, funded by the Finns and 5 other African countries in Southern Africa, motivated cross-border collaboration. So they funded 26 different consortiums representing 80 different organizations across 15 countries to come up with new ideas and or existing ideas to expand into new territories, very particularly to solve the kind of core social challenges that these countries are facing. Again, healthcare, housing, food security, digital access, job readiness, a whole broad range of social issues. And by motivating with a kind of a spectrum of support of both funding as well as kind of acceleration, mentorship, training, physical infrastructure, that combination of resources motivated all these different actors to try to come together, do something new. And what's so important if you want to facilitate and motivate innovation is you have to allow people to try different things and to be able to fail. And the entire structure of the SACE program allowed for a very broad approach to testing new ideas, testing new ways of working, testing new partnerships, and allowing success to come in many different forms and shapes. And for me, that's one of the kind of critical things that's absolutely important to build a digital innovation economy. So for me, that the SACE 2 program really reflects a kind of an ideal example of the way to do it, both collaboratively, but also structurally. So I'll leave it there.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we should enable people to do things differently, to test new things. Cross-border collaboration is important. This is some of the takeaway for me. I appreciate. I would like now to talk to Robert Sanders with this question. To what extent has technology been applied to drive digital inclusion in Africa? Related question, are there new, let's focus first on this question. To what extent has technology been applied to drive digital inclusion in Africa?
Well, I think that's a very, very important aspect. As time is short, Crystal, if you don't mind, I may just concentrate a couple of words on the initiatives.
Sure.
There's a couple of important messages I just wanted to get across as time is short. So I wanted to highlight in particular another Team Europe initiative. And Tana, I'm not sure if you're aware of this one, but it might be relevant as well. So it's the IYBA, which is the Invest in Young Businesses in Africa. And I wanted to mention it particularly because it brings together, as Team Europe initiatives do, initiatives from the European Commission, but also member states from the EU. And indeed, it involves some other global initiatives. And it kind of groups together, in this instance, initiatives that are focusing on supporting the financing of young entrepreneurs. And hard to believe, but the team have mapped over 180 programs that are currently running with a combined financial support of 4.6 billion euros. And the objective is to build a platform which will bring these initiatives closer together. So it'll help us to hopefully avoid working in silos, as sometimes is the case with projects, as we know, and initiatives. And as you might expect, Big Africa is one of the projects that's part of this platform. So I just wanted to mention to that one, and that in fact is a DG INPA led initiative, and it's focusing on very early stage companies up to 200,000 euros. The next phase is early stage from 200 to about 5 million. And then there's a third building block looking at supporting the business and entrepreneurship ecosystem. Also in the previous session, my colleague...
Sorry, can you sum up, because we are almost over.
Okay, well, I think in the previous session, my colleague Severin mentioned the African-Europe Digital Innovation Bridge, so I think that's been done already. And finally, just wanted to say on our side, we're very happy, as mentioned at the outset, to support the AU Youth Pavilion. And again, it just demonstrates a practical initiative, and I think that's always the way to go. Let's keep it as practical as possible, supporting entrepreneurs. Thank you, Christian. Sorry to run on a bit. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know if Ruth have anything to complement in one minute. We cannot hear you. I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I'll do it in 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah, I
Okay.
appreciate
Yes, I think now going forward, I just would like to see the excitement and sensitization, because before we can have partnership, people need to know who we are, what we're doing on the ground. So at the grassroots level, we've started the Sokoko.Africa sensitization project. All 21 countries are having now training of trainers of what digital transformation means, and they're quite excited about it. So I just want to invite everyone to embark on Sokoko.Africa projects as we're doing with our partnership in AE Trade. And I would like to thank you for moderating this and we're looking forward to getting more activities in the future together. And thank you very much.
Thank you to you. Thank you to all panelists and participants. Unfortunately, we cannot get a question from the floor. I think this was a very interesting panel. Many ideas came up, and I think we'll be able to partner with the E-Trade group in the future as they are providing to all of us an innovation center, and they are ready to expand their network. I appreciate all your contribution in terms of networking, funding issues, access to market, to name few of them. With that, I want to thank you very much. I think the report will be, what we have said will be reflected in the global report, will be getting soon. Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Christian.